Have you ever wondered why some people don't need wealth, don't need to stand out, don't even need to open their mouths, yet the entire room turns toward them? They don't chase power, power chases them. Machiavelli once said, "It is not the loudest who holds power, but the one no one fully understands." Today, you're about to uncover a truth that has been hidden for more than 500 years, an invisible trait possessed by only 1% of humanity. A force that gives them an unfair advantage in any situation, negotiation, career advancement, relationships, or any game life sets before them. And this is also the reason you often feel like you work harder, yet receive less. The problem isn't your ability. It's the absence of this secret factor. If you've ever craved respect without shouting for it, if you want influence without having to justify yourself, if you want to walk into life with a presence that makes others think twice before underestimating you, then keep reading. Because in the next few minutes, you will know exactly how Machiavelli crafted this silent form of power, and how you can turn it into your own absolute advantage. Get ready. The game begins now. Number 1. Invisible dominance. There are people who walk into a room without speaking, without trying to prove anything, yet every gaze instinctively shifts toward them. No heavy footsteps, no grand declarations, no theatrical gestures. They simply appear. And that presence alone becomes a gravitational force, an energy field that commands attention, caution, and even respect. This phenomenon is not accidental. It is known as invisible dominance, a form of power that makes no noise, shows no aggression, yet works with an efficiency so striking it feels unfair. This concept isn't new. Over 500 years ago, Machiavelli described a kind of strength that operates in the shadows, belonging to those who masterfully control the image they project. Everyone sees what you appear to be, but few know what you truly are. The frightening thing about this power is simple. It doesn't rely on money, status, or appearance. A poor man can possess it. An average-looking or average intelligence person can radiate influence far beyond the so-called elite. Invisible dominance requires no validation, no applause, no desperate attempt to be seen. It grows from deep awareness, from the ability to control yourself and the environment without anyone noticing. Ordinary people act on impulse, talking too much to prove value, showing emotions to earn sympathy, displaying knowledge to be acknowledged, showing off to avoid being underestimated. They believe visibility is the only path to survival. But that very impulse strips them of power. The more someone tries to be seen, the easier they are to read. The easier they are to predict. The easier they are to control. Meanwhile, the person with invisible dominance understands a simple but profound truth. The greatest power is the kind that cannot be identified. They speak less, but every word has weight. They don't chase the spotlight, yet the spotlight finds them, because people sense something behind the calm exterior. They maintain a distance wide enough to create mystery, close enough to create connection, but never allow anyone to fully grasp their true nature. Invisible dominance is the art of controlling what you let the world see, and more importantly, what you refuse to let it see. Silence becomes a signal. Composure becomes presence. Restraint becomes allure. You don't need to prove your strength. You need only make others feel that underestimating you would be a mistake. This is the beginning of the darkest form of power, power that moves in silence but shapes everything within its reach. Number 2, predictability kills power. People often mistake absolute openness as a sign of trust, believing that total transparency equals sincerity. They grow up thinking that being yourself means exposing every emotion, every thought, every plan. But in the game of power, predictability is a death sentence. A predictable person is an open book. Anyone can read it, decode it, and more importantly, exploit it. If others know what angers you, they can use it to push you off balance. If they know what delights you, they can use it to manipulate you. If they know your weaknesses, they hold the leverage that forces you into submission. Machiavelli spoke of a kind of power that doesn't come from external strength, but from internal control. And that begins with being unpredictable. Predictable people live through reflex. A criticism makes them explode. A compliment softens them instantly. A little pressure triggers a rushed response. Everything inside them, anger, fear, excitement, floats to the surface like bubbles in shallow water. To the perceptive, these are data. To the wise, these are tools. To the malicious, these are weapons. Meanwhile, those who possess invisible power operate through a completely different mechanism. They don't rush to react. They listen, observe, register, but they don't expose. They understand that revealing the wrong emotion at the wrong time hands control of the entire game to someone else. Unpredictability is not about pretending or hiding your true nature. It is self-mastery, knowing what to show and what to withhold. Such a person keeps others wondering, what are they thinking? What are they feeling? What do they want? And when those answers remain unclear, the opposite side is forced into caution, into restraint, into holding back their own moves. This uncertainty, combined with timely silence, creates a form of invisible pressure. Like staring into deep water, without knowing what lurks beneath, people instinctively keep their distance. Predictable people are prisoners of their own emotions. Unpredictable people forge their emotions into armor. You may not be stronger, wealthier, or more talented, but if you are less predictable, you are already at an advantage. An advantage that makes others hesitate, reconsider, and avoid pushing you into reactions they can exploit. Unpredictability turns you into a variable. And in a world where everyone craves certainty, the variable is what people fear most. Number 3. The silent observer. In most conversations, people assume that the one who talks more is leading the discussion. They believe volume equals power, that words are the only way to prove worth. That's why most individuals fight for every second to speak, to demonstrate, to fill the air with their voice. They fear silence like they fear a dark room. But the truth is the opposite. The one who talks the most is rarely the one with the most power. The real power holder is the one who asks the questions, the one who watches, the one who listens. The silent observer doesn't need to win through words. They win through information. While others rush to expose their opinions, emotions, and weaknesses, the observer calmly collects data. Every raised eyebrow, every hesitation, every poorly chosen word, every darting glance, all of it becomes intel. People think the silent one is merely quiet, but they are recording. And they know how to use those pieces at the right moment. While the crowd speaks to escape discomfort, the silent observer turns silence into a weapon. They don't interrupt. They don't try to dominate by speaking faster, louder, or more. They create space and let others fill it. That space is the trap. The more someone talks, the more they reveal. The more you stay silent, the more advantages you accumulate. This is why in negotiation, interrogation, high-pressure discussions, or conflict, the silent person often unsettles everyone else. They don't reveal what they're thinking. They don't show whether they agree or disagree. They don't hint at whether they are empathetic, indifferent, or guarded. This ambiguity destabilizes the other side, forcing them to talk more to reassure themselves. And then, with just a few sharp, well-timed questions, the silent observer steers the conversation. Not through force, but through precision. By asking the right question at the right moment, they make the other person reveal more, explain more, and even contradict themselves. What's remarkable is that they are not distant. They still participate, but with intention. They don't speak from impulse, but from strategy. When they do speak, people listen, because they know this person does not waste words. There is a rare calmness to them, a silent gravity that compels others to act more carefully in their presence. The silent observer notices what others ignore. hears what others gloss over, catches what others drop in haste. This doesn't just create power, it creates sustainable advantage, the ability to understand others without allowing others to understand you. This is the strength of the quiet ones, those who win not by noise but by clarity. Number 4, the law of scarcity. The less you appear, the more you are worth. In the modern world, people mistakenly believe that to be loved, respected, or remembered, one must always be present. Always reply quickly. Always participate. Always show up the moment others need them. It sounds kind, sounds devoted, but it is also the fastest path to becoming devalued. When you are always available, you become ordinary. When you are too accessible, you become the default. And once you become the default, people no longer see you as special. This is the harsh but undeniable nature of the law of scarcity, one of the most powerful psychological principles governing human behavior. What exists in abundance loses value. What exists in limited supply becomes treasured. This is true for gold, for masterpieces, for trust, and it is just as true for people. Those who possess invisible dominance understand this deeply. They are not everywhere. They do not respond to every message the moment it arrives. They do not accept every invitation, and they absolutely do not turn themselves into a 24/7 emotional service center for anyone. They curate their presence the way an artist chooses the perfect time to step on stage. It is not arrogance. It is not manipulation. It is simply the understanding of one timeless truth. Value lies in limitation. When you are always there, people assume you will always be there. When you are too easy, people assume you will always be easy. But when you become selective, people start paying attention. Something as simple as replying to messages illustrates this. If you always respond instantly, your attention loses its impact. But when you reply at your own pace, people must wait. And when humans wait, they unconsciously assign more value to what they're waiting for. Or consider declining social invitations. When you don't accept everything, your yes transforms into an event. Your presence stops being an inevitability and becomes something others prepare for, seriously, intentionally. This is why influential people speak less, appear less, and rarely allow themselves to be pulled around by everyone's needs. Their selectiveness makes them feel like a rare gem, seldom seen, but every appearance leaves an imprint. The law of scarcity does not teach you to withdraw from the world. It teaches you to value yourself by controlling access to you. You don't need to freeze yourself out. You simply need to appear only when it truly matters. Respond when you are ready, not when pressured. Say yes to what is worthy and no to what drains your energy. When you stop giving your presence away carelessly, the world begins to appreciate it. When you reduce your easiness, people elevate your value. Scarcity doesn't just make you more valuable, it makes you someone others must earn the right to access. Number 5, strategic presence. When you show up at the right moment, you become an event. Most people believe that the more they show up, the greater their influence becomes. They try to be everywhere, attend every meeting, join every conversation, insert themselves into every situation as if absence would make them irrelevant. But in the game of power, showing up too much is just like speaking too much. You become forgettable. Those who possess invisible dominance understand this deeply. They don't chase presence. They control it. Strategic presence is the art of appearing at the right moment, in the right context, with the right intention. Not always in the spotlight, but every time they step into it, the entire atmosphere shifts. Imagine a heated meeting, full of interruptions, overlapping voices, and people desperately trying to assert dominance. But when the person with invisible power walks in, or finally speaks up, the room falls silent. Not because they fight for attention, but because their presence carries the weight of something important about to happen. This is power that comes not from frequency, but from timing. Strategic presence is choosing where it truly matters to appear. Ordinary people try to be everywhere to avoid missing anything. Powerful people choose to appear in the places where everyone else has to notice. They don't join every argument, but when they enter a critical discussion, their presence alone redirects the energy. They don't attend every social event, but when they show up at an important gathering, it signals significance. Do. It's not about talking more, but speaking at the right moment. In a conversation, they aren't the ones interrupting or competing for space. They listen, they watch, they wait. And when they speak, even if it's only a few sentences, the entire dialogue shifts direction. This isn't eloquence. It's an acute sense of timing and the weight of words. A single sentence spoken at the right moment is stronger than 100 spoken at the right time. 3. Strategic presence is also knowing when not to appear. A symbol becomes powerful not through constant display, but through choosing the right moments to disappear. The right absence is a tactic. When you avoid a pointless argument, you become the neutral, trustworthy figure. When you stay out of chaos, you become a stable anchor. When you leave a conversation at the perfect moment, you make others want more from you. It is the space shaped by your absence that elevates the value of your presence. 4. You don't just show up, you create a moment. Someone with strategic presence doesn't walk into a room like everyone else. They enter as if a new piece has been placed on the chessboard and everyone senses the shift. When they speak, others quiet down. When they offer feedback, people consider it carefully. When they stand up to leave, the rhythm of the conversation falters. This is the hallmark of strategic presence. You don't just occupy the space, you become the event inside it. There is no need to shout to be noticed. You simply choose the perfect moment to become the center of gravity. Masters of power are not everywhere. They appear only when the impact will be maximal. 6. Mastering emotion. He who controls himself controls the game. In every confrontation, whether it's communication, negotiation, or silent conflict, emotion is the battlefield where most people lose in the very first minute. Not because they are weak, but because they react too quickly, too sincerely, too openly. A small criticism is enough to make them flush with anger. A hollow compliment softens them instantly. A little pressure pushes them into rushed decisions. A person who cannot govern their emotions is like a ship without a rudder. Even the smallest gust of wind is enough to push them off course. What they fail to realize is this: every emotion they reveal becomes a map that guides others in controlling them. Someone who masters emotion is not someone who feels nothing. They simply refuse to let their emotions make decisions on their behalf. Order. Emotion is information, not a command. People with invisible power do not suppress their emotions. They feel them more clearly than anyone else. But instead of reacting immediately, they process internally first. They ask themselves, where is this emotion coming from? Is it useful or not? Is the other person trying to trigger it for their own agenda? Only when the answers are clear do they act, and that action is always intentional. For them, emotions are like ocean waves. They may rise and crash loudly, but their ship never capsizes because their rudder is not emotion, it is strategy. 2. Praise and criticism. Two sides of the same trap. People can make you lose your composure with an insult, but they can also make you drop your guard with a compliment. A simple "you're so talented" makes many reveal too much. A light scolding pushes many into defensiveness. A vague threat is enough to create panic and mistakes. Those who lack emotional control fall into every one of these traps. Those who master emotion take a single silent breath and respond with reason. 3. He who controls emotion controls the tempo of others. When you refuse to react to the stimulus someone else is trying to provoke, they become unsettled. They expect your reaction so they can read you, grasp you, manipulate you. But when you remain calm, they begin doubting their own strategy. They feel a loss of control. They shift into defense. They speak more in desperation to find a signal from you. And once they lose their balance, you can steer the game. Your calmness is not just a shield, it is a weapon. Claro. When others are chaotic, you become the anchor Machiavelli once wrote. He who foresees the future looks to the past. Man does not change. Throughout history, the most respected figures have always been the calmest. When everyone panics, they become gravity. When everyone argues, they observe. When everyone loses reason, they hold the rhythm. In every emotional storm, people turn to the one who stands firm. And the one who stands firm is the one who refuses to be puppeted by emotion. The person who masters emotion is not just strong, they are dangerous. Because they don't merely control themselves, they control the tempo of the entire world around them. Number 7. The power of strategic silence. When you don't speak, you say more than everyone else. People fear silence. So much so that they rush to fill every empty space with words, even when those words carry little value. In conversations, arguments, or even negotiations, the most obvious thing you'll notice is humanity's obsession with avoiding stillness. They can't endure a few seconds of quiet. They fear being judged, fear being misunderstood, fear that silence will make them look weak. And because of that fear, they expose themselves without realizing it. Meanwhile, those who possess invisible dominance understand that silence is not the absence of speech. Silence is a form of communication far more powerful than words. Silence is a weapon that makes others reveal themselves. When you remain silent after asking a difficult question, people instinctively rush to fill the gap. They talk more than necessary. They over-explain. They volunteer information you never asked for. A few seconds of silence can make the other person reveal weaknesses, shift their tone, even contradict themselves, and most importantly, they lose composure while you maintain control of the conversation's pace. After silence, words carry weight. A sentence spoken immediately after silence doesn't just have weight, it has trajectory. When you allow your words to sink in, you turn them into signals, warnings, or messages people must contemplate. Many make the mistake of speaking and then immediately softening their point with explanations, excuses, or filler phrases. The powerful do not. They speak and let their words stand alone. No explanation, no correction, no retreat. The result? Others are forced to think for you. And when others think for you, you are leading without appearing to lead. 3. Silence creates authority in a way words never can. When everyone in the room is scrambling to speak over one another, the silent one becomes the most noticeable. When everyone tries to prove their point, the one who shows no stance becomes the enigma everyone must consider. In silence, you become mysterious. In silence, you create tension and measure. In silence, you force others to guess, and their guessing is your power. Chart. Silence gives you time to see what others miss. When you don't react impulsively, you observe more effectively. You notice micro-expressions in their face, subtle shifts in tone, moments of hesitation, unconscious slips of speech. Those who talk too much never see these things. Only the silent can see the full battlefield. Pinch. Silence at the right moment makes you someone others must respect. A person who knows how to be silent, at the right place, at the right moment, is rare. So rare that others instinctively see them as trustworthy, worthy of attention, and worthy of respect. They don't get swept up by collective emotion. They don't get provoked by chaos. They stand apart, calm, steady, unshaken, and that alone makes them stand out. Silence is not retreat. Silence is stepping into a higher position, the position of the one who controls the rhythm of the conversation. Number 8. Never reveal your full ability. The power of concealment. In the real world, most people believe the fastest way to earn respect is to prove themselves as early as possible. They display their achievements at the very first meeting. They showcase their skills the moment they get a chance. They spill everything they know, hoping others will admire them. What they don't realize is this: when you show all your cards, the game ends, and you are the one who loses. Truly powerful individuals never reveal the full extent of their abilities. Not because they are afraid, but because they understand an unbreakable principle of power. What remains hidden forces others to be cautious. What is fully exposed forces others to resist. Bora. When you reveal your entire capability, you become predictable and easy to counter. A person who shows all their talents from the start gives others the ability to know their limits, prepare counter strategies, eliminate fear or curiosity about them. You become an open map. Everyone can see it and anyone can figure out how to defeat you. In contrast, those who conceal their abilities create a strategic fog. And in that fog, power is born. Duh. Concealment is not deception, it is information control. This is where many people misunderstand. Concealing your abilities is not about being two-faced. It is not pretending. It is not wearing a false mask. Concealment is simply not letting others see more than what is necessary for respect. You can still be honest, kind, sincere, but you do not allow anyone to fully read the map of your capabilities. A short answer, a subtle smile, a well-timed silence, a small but precise action. All enough to show you are capable, but not enough for them to understand how capable you truly are. Très. When others underestimate you, you gain the advantage of surprise. There is a unique form of power that only appears when people don't know what you hold. The power of surprise. The more people underestimate you, the less prepared they are. The more they think you are not at their level, the more opportunities you have to flip the situation at the exact moment they least expect it. That surprise is not luck. It is strategy. The strategy of someone who understands that the greatest opportunities do not lie in shining constantly, but in exploding at the perfect moment. Chat. When your abilities are revealed piece by piece, you create sustained curiosity. A person who cannot be fully understood forces others to observe, be cautious, speculate, invest energy to figure them out. This is how you maintain the upper hand without noise. You become an unsolved equation, and humans are naturally obsessed with what remains unsolved. Curiosity pulls people into your orbit, forcing them to pay attention, to monitor, to respect. Pech. Holding back a part of your strength keeps you flexible and never out of weapons. Someone who displays all their skills too early will have nothing left when circumstances shift. Someone who conceals their abilities always has. Unused skills, undisclosed knowledge, unintroduced connections, untapped resources. This is not just insurance, it is flexibility, the ability to change the entire game at any moment. Holding back does not make you weak. It makes you dangerous. People fear what they do not understand and respect what they cannot predict. Number 9. Creating advantageous uncertainty. When others can't predict you, they can't control you. Certainty makes people comfortable. When they know what you think, what you want, what you like, what you hate, they feel safe. But that very safety makes them underestimate you. And in the game of influence, being underestimated is the beginning of losing power. Conversely, a person who cannot be read carries a special kind of magnetic field: curiosity, caution, and respect. Curiosity because they don't understand you. Caution because they can't predict you. Respect because they don't know how strong you really are. That is why those who possess invisible dominance always cultivate a deliberate layer of uncertainty, not to cause chaos, but to maintain the upper hand in every interaction. Mappa. Predictable people are always controlled. If others know you, react strongly to insult, soften when praised, are easily influenced by pressure, always respond quickly, are always agreeable, or always irritable. They will use these traits as levers to control you. Predictability turns you into a tool. Uncertainty turns you into an opponent no one can easily handle. Dutch. Advantageous uncertainty is not inconsistency, it is flexibility. Many people think unpredictability means constant mood swings, being hot one moment and cold the next, close, then distant. That is chaos, not power. Advantageous uncertainty equals acting flexibly according to strategy, not emotion. Sometimes you respond fast to control momentum. Sometimes you respond slowly to create distance. Sometimes you are warm. Sometimes reserved. Not because you're unstable, but because you have reasons. Others cannot grasp your behavioral pattern, and that inability prevents them from manipulating you. 3. Uncertainty forces others to work harder to maintain connection. When people are certain you will always be kind, always compliant, always available, always agreeable, they become lazy. But when sometimes you are warm, sometimes neutral, sometimes quiet, always strategically, they start to think carefully before speaking. Consider their actions' value. Every moment you show friendliness, put effort into maintaining the relationship, you become someone they must work to access. That is power. Kart. Uncertainty keeps you in the position of advantage. In any interaction, the one with the advantage is the one who acts, not the one who reacts. Deliberate uncertainty gives you control over the conversation's pace, control over the emotional tone, control over response timing, control over when to open or close your emotional doors. Others are forced to move at your tempo, not the other way around. Thank you. Uncertainty makes you the mystery, and mystery creates power. What humans fear most is not thunder. It is the darkness where they don't know what waits inside. When others cannot predict you, they won't dare underestimate you. They won't dare test you. They won't dare attack you directly. They won't dare categorize you as easily controlled. You become the unknown variable in every equation they make. And the unknown variable is always the most influential. Advantageous uncertainty doesn't make you distant. It makes you formidable. A person can be defeated when they are fully understood, but no one can defeat something they cannot predict. Number 10. Become the hidden force. When you don't seek power, power seeks you. At this point, you've grasped the entire foundation of invisible dominance. The form of power that operates in the shadows, needs no display, demands no attention, yet still makes others notice you, fear misstepping around you, and respect you. This final section is the shift from understanding to becoming. Because invisible dominance is not a temporary trick. It is a way of life. A strategy of survival. A method of positioning yourself in a world drowning in noise and chaos. Bor. Eliminate the 3 habits that destroy your power, seeking approval. When you live through the eyes of others, you hand them control over your life. Stop asking, what do they think of me? Start asking, what aligns with my direction? The strong do not ask for permission to be strong. Over-explaining. The weak explain to be accepted. The strong act and let the results speak. You don't need to justify every decision. Brevity creates more authority than you think. Emotional reacting. People can predict you, control you, and corner you simply by triggering your emotions. The less you react, the more choices you have, and that is freedom. Duh. Build the 3 habits that place you among the 1% who possess invisible dominance. Always pause before responding. 1 breath. A few seconds of silence. This pause becomes an invisible wall that blocks manipulation. It allows you to respond with strategy, not impulse. Ask more, speak less. Questions steer the direction of any conversation. The one who asks controls the wind. The one who answers only resists it. Show up selectively. Not every conversation deserves your voice. Not every situation deserves your presence. When your appearance feels like an event, people will automatically raise your value. Invisible dominance is the art of influencing through space, not noise. You do not impose. You do not demand. You do not force. You create the space that pulls others toward you. Through your calm, when everyone else is chaotic. Through your silence, when everyone else is scrambling. Through your observation, when others are boasting. Through your mystery, when others are oversharing. You become a quiet gravitational force, unseen, yet impossible to escape. Scherz. When you become a hidden force, you don't compete. You shape the playing field. The loud ones fight for scraps of light. You stand in the shadows, yet the entire room orbits around your stillness. You do not chase power. Power finds you because you are the only one not chasing it. That is the beautiful paradox of invisible dominance. Pesce. The final crystallization in visible power is not performance. It is the artful fusion of just enough mystery, silence at the right moments, sharp observation, disciplined emotion, selective presence, intentional unpredictability. When all of this blends together, you become what Machiavelli described, a force no one realizes is there, yet everyone is affected by. You are no longer just another person in the crowd. You become the hidden force, the one who makes no noise, yet shapes the flow of every interaction around you. You have just stepped through a door most people will never even notice exists, the door to the invisible trait Machiavelli considered the key to real power. From today forward, you no longer need noise to be heard, nor display to be respected. You now know how to become someone others cannot predict, cannot control, and cannot underestimate. Remember, power doesn't lie in noise. Power lies in making the world grow silent in order to watch you. And if you apply what you've learned, every step you take will carry the weight of someone who holds an unfair advantage. If you want to continue unlocking psychological strategies that 99% of people never learn, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Your journey to ruling in silence has only just begun.